Welcome to a special coronavirus edition of the Let's Go Ricky Roll podcast. We are in quarantine, and I think we're a little bit too close. We're supposed to be 6 feet.
6 feet, man.
All right, but for the camera angle, we got to get a little closer in this. I think everybody right now is, what's the word? Going crazy? You got two little ones, 4 and soon to be 1.
Yeah.
And how's that going? And you might hear them during the show, by the way.
It's going well. I mean, it's tough when the 4-year-old obviously has been in school for the past 2 years. So having him home has been a little chaotic, but my wife does a pretty good job of trying to keep him entertained. And it's just tough because you're used to, like, all right, take him to art zone or take him to an indoor playground, and you can't do all those things. Or take him to the park, like nobody at the park. You know, and you don't want to be that one person that's out there, and then they're like, "Oh, well, look at this irresponsible person." So it's just finding things here in the house. We built a little, I forget what it's called, for him to do art. One of those stands.
An easel, he has that.
Easel, yeah. And
that lasts 5 minutes.
Yeah. So we're just trying to enjoy, I guess, time with them at the end of the day. You know, you're such a positive guy. It's going crazy.
A
bit, yeah. I mean,
I think every parent is, because everybody's like, oh, if I could just stay home with the kid, it'd be great. But then you realize, hey, maybe your kid's the bad kid at school.
Well, and the thing is, like, you're like, okay, well, maybe we pack up and go on vacation. You can't even do that.
Can't go anywhere.
Or how about I'll go get a house at Palm Springs? Well, it's probably just as chaotic there. It's
crazy.
And it's
we've never seen anything like this in our lifetime.
No, and you probably never will. And it's just like, it's not just affecting the United States, but it's affecting the whole world. And it's just, you know, you
can't go anywhere.
You go to the grocery shop and there's like
nowhere.
Nothing. I going to Whole Foods yesterday too. It was just one of those things where you're walking down the aisle, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but you're walking down the frozen section and there's nothing. And it almost feels like you're in a movie. Like every time I go in there, because we've been looking for certain things to just kind of, we're not trying to hoard, and people stop hoarding stuff. Like, Jesus Christ, we're not going to run out of food. Like, just stop it. Right? I mean.
And it was different because you get, your wife is a vegan chef or nutritionist and everything else, so you don't have to rely on meat. You have different ways of doing stuff.
Different ways, yeah.
But even the stuff that now is running low.
It's funny. A lot of that stuff, the vegan stuff, is what's still on the shelf sometimes. A lot of stuff we use, and hey, we're cool with it.
Let's go.
I mean, but
I went to La Venadita. Carlos Muniz's uncle's the owner there in Carson, and the line was forever, and then the tortillas were gone. I'm like, what?
We just found bread today. We haven't found bread like all week, and then luck of the draw, we went to Trader Joe's, went for a walk just to go get a coffee. Walked into Trader Joe's, boom, there's bread, so we grabbed some. And it wasn't even like we grabbed 2, 3. We just needed. We go shopping once a week.
You're like, wow, I got bread.
Yeah, we go shopping once a week, so we're always, our fridge is always full with our food.
I like doing the podcast.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, you almost feel like you're in a movie when you're walking around. Every time I go to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's and you're just walking around, you're like, is somebody playing a joke on us? Right? Like, it just feels like that.
Just the freeways, driving around, it's just weird.
Like people are like saying like, oh yeah, I just went on the 405 to downtown and it took me 15 minutes, where that commute usually is an hour and a half.
Yeah, on a good day.
On a good day, yeah.
It's just crazy. So we're here in Southern California, and that's what's going on. So for this quarantine edition of the Let's Go Ricky Roll podcast, we decided to take questions from people on social media, because everybody tells you, get off social media, you're spending too much time on it. Now, it's the only way you can communicate with your neighbor. Yeah. Because you can't see them, but it's how you can communicate with everybody. So we took some questions from everybody, and you can see Ricky wearing his 101 cider hoodie right there, which I need to get one. Today's flavor.
It's still the Cactus Rosé, man. That's the most popular.
The Cactus Rosé is out every episode is because it's really, really good. It's where I like to get my fancy bouginess. Like, since I can't go to brunch anymore and be a fancy Mexican, I got to get the Cactus Rosé.
Get your probiotics in, man. No hangover.
I don't even know what a probiotic is, but am I getting that?
That's right.
All right, non-GMO, no sulfites, non-filtered. keto, whatever you want to say, friendly, vegan, pressed juice, 101 cider. I put the details on the show notes and check that out. This is really, really good, though, by the way.
Yeah.
Since I don't have any bread, because there's no bread anywhere.
No bread.
There's no tortillas anywhere. All right, so I am enjoying that. If you guys got the stickers, you sent me the DM. They have been sent out. Appreciate it. The stamps are super expensive. 3 stamps to go to Canada.
I'll lead it off with the first. Actually, it's a good friend.
Oh, you get your own questions? Oh,
a good friend of mine, Kevin Pillar. You know,
All-Star Kevin Pillar?
All-Star. I don't know if he's made an All-Star yet.
He's an All-Star to us.
An All-Star here, yeah.
You know who he is? The pride of Cal State, Dominguez Hills,
Yeah.
Go Toros, Kevin Pillar.
Yeah.
See, Division II can get you to the major leagues.
As soon as I put the, hey, send your questions in, he says, when will you have your former teammate and friend on?
You know what, Kevin? First of all, thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. I'm going to make the decision that you're not coming on the podcast because we only have 2 microphones. we
gotta figure out this.
No, we'll get him.
No, but we do. I told him we got to get him on. I mean, obviously
sure.
An incredible story. I remember when we were training at Exos at the whatever.
Home Depot Center with Beckham?
Yeah, Home Depot Center. That's what I like to call it, the Home Depot Center.
Yeah.
And he came in with Aaron Sanchez at the time, and there were 2 young pups, and it was, I was in the big leagues, and obviously it just happened to be that there were 2 guys in the Blue Jays organization, and I knew who Sanchez was because
they weren't big leaguers yet?
No, they weren't big leaguers yet, and obviously Pilar growing up in the Valley, and then playing at Dominguez Hills, becoming one of the, if not the best player to ever come out of there.
Oh, easy.
And then he's training with us, and you saw the athleticism early on. And then I got to play with him in AAA one year, and my goodness, for about a month span, you talk to anybody from that team in Buffalo, and this is when I was struggling a bit, and he was on the way up. He was probably one of the best hitters during like a span of like maybe a month or 2, where everything he hit was just completely solid.
He's with the Giants now?
He is with the Red Sox.
Oh, Red Sox? He went to the Giants, though, right?
He went to the Giants from Toronto, which I'm sure was a
big Laker fan, right?
Big Laker fan, fan favorite in Toronto. He ended up, obviously making it to the big leagues, and I mean the defense he played in center field was.
He was flying. He was like Superman out there.
That's what his nickname was, and it was just cool to see that development from early on. You saw him in short season, you heard of him in low A, and as the levels went up, and then I played with him in AAA, and it was like, wow. What round was he? Like a 30 or 20s? Late
20 something, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just, he's living proof that, if you put your mind to it, you can make it to the big leagues, and he did, and obviously now he's with the Boston Red Sox, and I was just an easy guy to root for, a good friend, and I love him, and I miss him dearly, honestly. Like, but still glad that.
Okay, we'll get you in. So the way it works.
Glad we get to share a friendship with him.
Exactly. The way it works with the 3rd guest or 4th, it's one. We only have 2 lavalier mics, so we're gonna get that, and we're recording this with my phone. So eventually we're gonna start spreading it out. But to get everybody coordinated, try to get everybody's schedule with the record on it, it's gonna be hard. So when Kevin comes to town, we will do a podcast with him because he's now asked to be on the show, so friend of the show, and we'll go and record it just audio. There won't be no YouTube for that. That way he doesn't have to worry about where we have to set up or anything like that. Because if we do just an audio version, super easy. So Kevin, when the Red Sox come to town, I don't need tickets.
Or you can do the mic and then have somebody record it, or it wouldn't sound.
It'd just be easier. Remember how we've gone?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's like easier. Guys are more comfortable. We just do the mic.
Yeah.
So,
but his story would be tremendous. Man. Just from the start to where he is now, and
plus, we don't want to leave our fantastic studio here.
Yeah.
Now, if Kevin's ever in the area where Ricky lives, which is behind the gates, you are more than welcome to come in here and bring a jersey, Kevin Pillar.
Yeah.
Right here. Right.
I'd like a Toronto Blue Jay jersey signed by you.
Yeah. So no pressure, Kevin Pillar. I want a Dominguez Hills jersey.
You know what the coolest thing was? Because he grew up a huge Dodger fan. Huge Dodger fan. So when he got traded from Toronto to the Giants, he flew straight to LAX and then took a car to Dodger Stadium, and that's where his first game as a Giant was. Yeah, he went straight to the rivalry. Yeah, so
that's cool.
I remember texting him. I was like, bro, I mean,
That's the one thing you wish you could have done.
Yeah,
right?
could it be scripted any better? I mean, obviously, I'm sure he grew up hating the Giants, but now you're putting on that jersey. A little bit of like the same as me, you know. I put on that jersey in spring training, and I'm sure it was a bit different for him, but obviously a fan favorite there, I heard, and everyone loved him, and Boston got a good one.
First of all, when you're a pro athlete, it's like, hey, whoever's paying me, that's my job. Forget the rivalries are for fans, right? When you sign with the Giants, how many of your friends were like, "Oh, Ricky, the Giants"?
Oh, I can never wear that jersey or that hat.
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
like,
okay.
okay, it doesn't matter.
I can never, but if they
Yeah.
give it to me, and there's a check,
Yeah,
they're gonna go quick, right?
absolutely.
Did
Yeah,
your dad have a Giants hat?
he still wears it to this day, and he's a Dodger fan. You know, was, but
Your dad knows.
yeah.
He knows. This one comes in from our boy Favela in Las Vegas. Ricky, coronavirus affecting people. If you were still playing, how would you work out? What do you think guys are doing?
Well, I think I'd be doing what I'm doing now. Obviously, I'm not playing. I have some weights and stuff that there's stuff you can do. You can, I've owned kettlebells for a few years now.
Okay.
And I'm able to do different stuff with that now as a retired player. The throwing would get a little tricky because you got to find somebody
That can throw with you.
and they make sure that, like, with all that stuff that's going on, like, what if they are carrying it or who they're hanging out with? There's just so much stuff that kind of, like...
Who would you play catch with?
I don't know. I mean...
If you were, say you were in Toronto and you're in Florida, would you stay there?
Yeah, I probably would. Because I know some guys are staying there and they're being watched. So I think that would be the smartest choice, to be able to stay there, or just probably talk to the team and say, hey, what's the best? Because I know, like, the New York Yankees, the big league guys stayed in Tampa. They all stay in Tampa because they all want to continue to work out.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd probably stay somewhere where baseball is still 24/7 just to keep me sane.
Okay, because pitchers are the creatures of habit. Like, you guys need to know that on the fifth day you're going to pitch this, you're going to do this. Like, was it December when you guys start getting your bullpens in, you start throwing? But if it was right now where you're already gearing up for a season and you don't know when you're going to play again.
That's the part that hurts,
crazy.
man. Just because you know the hard work that it takes just to get to spring training, and then they were about, what, 3/4 of the way done?
A couple weeks away from breaking,
Yeah, so, I mean, you start smelling it, you start seeing it. There's a time where spring training starts getting a little bit like, okay, like, I wanted to get the season going, and then boom, this happens. It's just, it sucks for everyone all around.
And for those of you wondering about me, I ain't got no job.
It hurts a lot of people, and that's what's sad. You know, like the small businesses, a freelancer like you, that has a job here, a job there, and all that.
I had 9 employers last year, and so I'm Mr. 1099 as a freelance broadcaster reporter, and I was telling you how much I missed out on 2 weeks of work. I can't imagine. It's going to be 2-3 months. And then in boxing, you can't just say, all right, let's do a fight tomorrow. Like baseball, if everything clears, all right, we can play it in 2 days.
Yeah.
A fight's going to take a while. So,
it sucks, man. And that's the thing. You turn on TV and there's no sports.
Nothing.
It's like literally the whole country, the whole world has kind of shut down, and everyone's just kind of staying home, which is the smartest thing
This
to
is
do.
why we're doing the podcast for you people. We're recording a bunch of them in one day. We're trying to spread them out. And eventually, I think we're going to have to... do you even own a laptop?
I do.
Okay, we might just end up Skyping me and
We're
you.
probably the next episode.
That's probably going to happen pretty soon. We're going to
Yeah.
have to just let people go. Like, because you have 2 young kids and I got kids too. And I'm like, I woke up in the morning, I'm like, do I have any sniffles? No? Okay, I'm good right now.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with my lungs today? All right, I'm good. Because
it's crazy that you even, like, if you cough, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, is there something?
Dude, but now when you see somebody cough, don't you like,
Oh, yeah.
like, right?
Well, the other day I was standing in line to pay for my groceries, and I had to cough, but it wasn't because I'm feeling sick.
Yeah.
I started getting just a tickle on my throat, and I was like...
Right, we're doing that, right? We're doing that.
And I tried not to cough because I was like, I don't want anybody to look at me weird.
Right.
And I just held it in. And as soon as I got in the car, I was like, oh, thank goodness.
And
I
then if
can
you
let it
sneeze, forget if you sneeze.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's weird to see people wearing their gloves, like latex gloves, pushing their carts or wearing a mask. You're just like...
You know, I'm eating healthy. Every time I go to Wendy's, the guy has his hands with the gloves, and I'm like, all right, cool. Even when, like, you hand over your ATM card, you're like,
Yeah.
I've always been a hand sanitizer guy. I learned this from hockey players because hockey players are the worst. they're so dirty because all the germs in their pads because it lives on there. And I always wondered, like, why do you guys always have sanitizer? So, like, one guy told me, like, anytime you come into the hockey locker room, always use hand sanitizer afterwards. So I've always been that guy. So I have a bunch. So I'm ready. I'm stockpiled, but I'm running low now, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I don't know. I'm going to be doing the podcast because I have nothing else to do unless I can't afford to pay my phone pretty soon. We'll be there. This one comes from Levine Live Shots. You know them out in New Hampshire. Who was your favorite coach? Anywhere. Favorite coach. And they got their stickers, by the way.
Levine.
No, Levine. That's right.
Yeah.
Forgot the G.
Favorite coach? Shoot.
Your dad.
Well, let's just go favorite pro ball coach.
All right, go
manager. I had a few. I mean, I'm trying to think.
Because you played for Cito, right?
Yeah.
That was your first manager.
Cito, John Farrell, and a little bit of
Bochy in spring training.
John Gibbons, Bruce Bochy. I mean, yeah, and I only had him for spring, but he's he's just a first class individual.
Size 8.
He was cool, but I can't really say I ever played for him. I mean, it was just.
But he commanded a room.
The best. Yeah.
Hooky.
Well, he wasn't a head coach. I mean, George Horton was probably up there. Yeah.
At Fullerton.
Yeah, at Fullerton. He's probably one of my favorites ever.
This rosé is good. Am I supposed to be drinking it this fast?
You drink it as fast as you want.
Cactus pear, basil, hibiscus, lemon peel.
If I had to tie them all together, obviously my dad would be at the top of the list. But if you exclude him, George Horton at Cal State Fullerton was probably one of my favorites. Okay. Just the baseball person all around. And I also had a coach in high A who was really, really cool, and I enjoyed playing for him, Omar Malave.
Okay.
And he ended up being our first base coach in the big leagues in 2010, I believe. And he was awesome to play for. Just because he expected you to be a pro, and he just demanded be there on time, play hard, and that's it, and show respect. And I really
that's basic. Right?
Yeah, and I truly
but guys
enjoyed.
Can't do that.
I mean, not some of them, and he was just, just you could tell he just let you go out. He let you go out there and do your thing, and to this day, anytime we see each other, we still have a good relationship. So he was cool to play for.
This one comes from Fernando in Torrance. Ricky always talks about the Niners. I've seen the Niner table. Does he have any other Niner gear? A Niners helmet.
I'm right. Niners carpet.
Get the Niners serape going.
A Niner serape. Which
your wife has one too, right?
No, that one's it. We bought it outside the Rams Niner game here in LA, the Coliseum. That the guy was selling hot dogs and he was wearing it, and I was like, "Bro, how much would you sell me your serape for?" He's like, "I actually have an extra one here. How much?" I was like, "How much do you want for it?" And I think it was like $20-$25. I was like, "I'd give you 50. Here you go." And I have a Joe Montana signed helmet too. The Dwight Clark little mini helmet.
Why the Niners?
I grew up a Steve Young fan.
Okay.
Jerry Rice. I think
those
were, those when I actually got to meet him once in Oakland.
Steve Young?
Yeah, and he was one of the coolest athletes
ever. He's a lawyer.
Is he?
Yeah, he went to BYU. He got his law degree.
Honestly, not very many guys I get starstruck with, and with him, I told him, I was like, "Man, I don't even know what to say to you, just because I'm so starstruck by you." And he's like, "Come on, man!" And he sat down with me in the dugout in Oakland, at the Coliseum, and we sat there and chatted for about 10-15 minutes.
Oh,
yeah.
What was he doing?
He's good friends with Kevin Millar.
Oh, okay.
And Kevin brought him in. He actually walked into our clubhouse like talking shit to everyone. Like he walked in. Yeah, he's like, "Oh man, you guys are in the training room getting a rub. Try playing with broken fingers and broken this." And he's like, "Man, you guys are soft." That's what he walked in and said.
That's how he announces it. That's cool. Would you say
it was pretty funny? I was like,
"Don't tell me you were the one getting
the massage." He was in the training room, and I just, obviously followed, and I heard him say, like, "Man, you guys are soft. Like, you guys are getting massages." I tell Millar, like, we were playing with broken fingers and this and that, and I was like, whoa.
Ronnie Lott cut off his pinky.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you talk to him for like 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10-15 minutes. I have a picture with him, and it was cool, man. It was like, it made my like year just meeting him and
You're a pro athlete telling him, I'm nervous talking
yeah,
to you.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's not your
No,
style.
not my style, but it was Steve Young, and it was a guy I grew up watching, and that's where kind of my love for the Niners started. And
Just you two talking?
yeah, yeah, yeah. We were in the dugout,
Damn.
just shooting the shit, and it was awesome, man. Like it was cool, just because he was such a cool human being. I didn't realize how big of a guy and how thick
Yeah.
he is in
He's not
person,
tall, but he's thick.
and his hands are just like, like you could just tell, like the way he probably gripped the football was just
Yeah.
an easy thing to do. My hands are small, so
What did he tell you, though?
man, we were just talking. Yeah, I think he was asking me baseball questions.
Oh, he's asking you questions.
And I was asking him, obviously, about the Niner days, and it was Ricky Henderson Day that day. So it was like, it was a pretty cool thing just to be, you get a little bit of Steve Young and you get some Ricky Henderson.
Hey, today I'm the greatest.
Yeah. So
Ricky.
So
cool.
that was cool.
And you got a picture of that day?
Mm-hmm. I have a picture with him, and I told him obviously that I was a diehard, and I mean, shoot, that was the last time. The last time he was a quarterback is the last time I saw them win a Super Bowl, and obviously they've had 2 goes at it these past few years, and nothing to show for it. But
Isn't Sergio Romo a big Niner fan too?
I'm not. He was.
Oh, because he played in San Francisco, so probably that connection.
Mm-hmm.
But he ain't like you.
Nah, man.
You don't have to sit up here.
Like Sundays it's like dedicated to Niner football, and I love it. I live for it. It's cool. I mean, we talk a lot of shit to each other in our group chat about the Niners and the Raiders and it's cool, man. Like I said, it's all in fun, and watching them losing.
To have that moment with Steve Young.
Watching them losing the Super Bowl this year was painful.
I didn't say anything.
It was tough, but
I didn't say anything. My brother's a Niner fan too.
We're over it. Onto
because there's like that generation, especially kids from LA. I know some people were like, "Well, how can you be a Dodger fan and a Niner fan?" Because the Niners would play Monday Night Football, and if you're a young kid like you were probably in elementary, they'd always beat the Rams, and they were going to Super Bowls.
Were the Rams here though? I don't even.
Yeah, when you're in elementary.
Well, middle school is when I started getting into football, into the 49ers.
Oh yeah, there was no. When you were in middle school, there was no team.
No
in LA.
team, yeah, I don't think
because they left when I was in 9th grade. So
yeah, so no.
Yeah, so you.
That's why I was like, "There's nobody to root for."
Yeah.
Sure as hell, I'm not rooting for the Raiders.
Oh,
even though that's the stereotypical when people look at me.
You're from East LA. You're supposed to be a Raider fan.
Exactly.
You are the Niner fan. Razzle's the Rams fan, and then everybody else is Raider fan.
Yeah.
Where's Felipe Esparza at? You got the Raiders.
Yeah. So, but no, I've never
Niners
despised the team like the Raiders
and you've
and
been
the Cowboys.
Did you ever go to Candlestick?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I actually was there when they. I went there. They played the Chargers one time. This is when they were bad during those times, and LaDainian Tomlinson scored like 4 touchdowns that day against them, and then I was there for.
What a dump! You've seen some great stadiums, Oakland and the Candlestick.
It was a dump of a stadium, but
there's a mystique right
oh
there.
my
Yeah.
goodness, like I miss it now, man. Like I've been to the new one here in Santa Clara, but it's like, wow, there was something about Candlestick. We went to I went to the playoff game where they lost to Eli Manning and Victor Cruz, the Giants. The year that the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and that was supposed to be the year the Niners got it done, and Kyle Williams had those muff punts and that's what a lot of people remember from that game.
His dad's an executive, right? Or was
for the
White
Kenny
Sox.
Williams, yeah.
He was.
But that was the game that I was there, and oh man, that was like the most painful game ever to be a part of because it was raining the whole time, misty, and it was like an up and down game. It was
I remember
cool.
Candlestick when the Dodgers used to play on Channel 11. All right, they'd always play the Giants, and it would be like the middle of summer here, and it just would be cold.
Yeah,
like Vince Scully.
It's sat by the water. It was by the water.
Vince Scully would be describing the game as, "Oh, the seagulls are out, and then everybody's cold, and everybody's bundled up."
Mm-hmm.
And
the last game I went to there though wasn't the playoff game. Carr and I took a trip there, and we went to the Niners Seattle Seahawks game when both teams were good, and the Niners ended up winning. But Carr was like, "Holy shit! Like this place is a shithole."
Terrible.
Just because going to the bathroom was a pain in the ass. They had porta potties, so it wasn't like you had to wait in line for a porta potty.
I never went to a game there. What I did is I was working a fight in Salinas, and I took the kids to San Francisco. That was the first time Michaela, my daughter, went on a plane, and I went a day early, and we went to San Francisco, spent the night there, and because we flew into San Francisco airport, I was like, wait a minute, Candlestick, and they had already started the construction. I took the kids. I'm like, look, you guys are little. Like Mateo was probably 9, 10. Mm-hmm. You're gonna get outside and you're taking a picture, and they still had the sign that said Candlestick.
Yeah.
And like most of the stadium had been knocked down except the right field bleachers. So I went and saw Candlestick, and then like 2 months later, gone. Gone. I'm like, so like I said, I went there.
It was loud, man. It was just so packed in for football, and it was like super loud, and you can almost hear the rumble.
Yeah.
Whenever the Niners did something good, and like that playoff game, it was just like boom, 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 and then they lost, and it was like.
Remember for baseball, they used to have the chain link fence. Mm-hmm. They had the chain link fence out there. So I'm like, wait, this is where I was telling the kids, like, this is the '89 World Series. It was an earthquake, and they played the Giants. They're like, whatever. But yeah, like you, at least they could say we went to Candlestick.
Yeah.
Because all these new stadiums, they look sterile. They are like. Did you ever play in San Diego?
Petco.
Oh my God, what a terrible! I understand why the Chargers didn't want to be there.
Atmosphere-wise, but the stadium is beautiful.
Yeah.
At Petco.
No. Oh, you didn't play Jack Murphy?
No, I'm not that old, man.
Well, I don't know, man. You might have Jack Murphy, or not even Jack Murphy. What's it called?
Qualcomm.
I call it Jack Murphy.
I went to plenty of football games.
Yeah. But in that locker room, covering Charger games down there, you'd walk in and you're like, "This is the NFL." No, like the carpet, 4 different colors.
I mean, it's the same as going to the Coliseum in Oakland.
Oakland Coliseum. The first time I went in there, I'm like,
yeah.
You guys are in the major leagues?
But believe it or not, Oakland has some of the nicest playing surfaces. Mm-hmm. They keep it that baseball field in minus having the infield during football season.
Yeah.
But when it's like baseball season, not football season yet, the grass is nice. The mound is. Maybe it's because I always did good there. But I always liked pitching there, and their grass was always nicely cut.
Plus, they have like 8,000 yards of foul ball territory.
I'm just saying, for as shithole of a stadium as it is on the outside, it's still fans love it. It's like the Oakland way, they're loud. You hear them, you hear the heckling.
Yeah. I went to a game working. I want to go as a fan and just sit in right field with those guys with the drums.
Oh, they're crazy, man. Crazy, they'll make you cry.
It just they remind me of like in Major League, like too high. Those fans getting out there. It's some interesting, man. Some of these that's the thing. Like the new SoFi Stadium where the Rams and Chargers are gonna play is gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be fantastic. All the amenities. Like I've been to Cowboy Stadium. It's fantastic. But there's something about those old, dumpy stadiums. They're great to see once. Mm-hmm. But if you're a player, you're like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like hanging your clothes on wire hangers.
Fenway Park, man.
Fenway's like that?
I mean, it's tiny. The clubhouse is tiny.
I've been to the visiting one, yeah.
Everyone.
There's a pillar in the clubhouse at Fenway, right?
There's more than one, I think.
There are, right?
Cool and everything, but godly.
You can't get dressed.
Shit.
Especially when there's a 40-man get called up. Forget that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. This one. Little Jay, Coach Fragoso. He actually grew up in Inglewood. He coaches at Kennedy High in Delano, which I'm an XL. Ricky's an XL. Thanks for the baseball shirts you're going to send us. He doesn't know that, but he's going to send us that. He coaches football and baseball there. He's like, Ricky, for my guys, I'm coaching baseball. What's the best advice do you have for them adjusting from high school to college baseball?
High school to college. Oh, man. It was definitely a culture shock. Going from Roosevelt High School,
98%
Latino, to going to Orange County, Cal State Fullerton. Now you're around a more diverse culture. It was eye-opening. Like, it was definitely like I was a deer in headlights, but I said, okay, I'm here. I wouldn't say I had dreams about moments like this because I didn't know if it was possible. But when the opportunity presented itself, I said, it's time to grab the bull by the horns and let's go. And now you're sharing a baseball field with some of the top players in the country. And that's another eye-opener. You're just there and you're like, okay, like, this is my competition. This is the guys I got to try and beat out for a job. And even though at the time they already had their guys, you still have to go in there and prove yourself because I came in as the guy who had all these strikeouts in high school, who was, somewhat of a high recruit, even though there was another tier of recruits who were a little bit higher than me,
like first round picks and stuff like that, or
we had
high picks,
or high recruits that were
Okay.
just like high, like, you know, 5-star you label, whatever,
Okay,
whatever,
okay.
whatever. So there was about 3 or 4 guys above me, and then it was like me, Justin Turner, Blake Davis, and Danny Dorn, and those are the 4 guys that kind of we all became roommates, and and we kind of just, I think we came in with that blue collar type mentality and said, okay, we're gonna be the ones that carry this program at one point, and it was,
That's
I enjoyed it.
intimidating, wasn't it?
Once I got there, it was like a bit intimidating, and then once I got on that mound where it was my comfort zone, I said, okay, it's up to me, and that's where I took it upon myself to kind of make a name for myself, and obviously
You
the
went
rest is
from
history.
like living at home, like your mom doing everything because you're Mexican kid, and that's what we do. My mom still does everything for me at 41. What's up, mom? She ain't watching. She don't have a phone. But the culture shock of knowing how to fend for yourself.
Well, the first semester I actually drove back and forth.
Oh, okay.
Because baseball season hadn't started yet, and I was like, okay, like this is cool, but it's not cool after I'm done with practice. It was not crazy practice yet, but I'm done with practice, and I'm sitting on traffic for 2 hours to get back home because we were still living in East LA, and I was driving back from Orange County.
Oh, you went up to 5, the 91. Forget that.
And I was like, this is terrible. And then back then the rules were a little bit different, where, you know, all of January we'd spend most of the day practicing, and I told my mom and dad, I was like, hey, the 3 other guys were doing the same thing. We're all gonna get a room the second semester because baseball season starts now. I need to stay closer to keep up with studies and be able to, you know, whatever. And we ended up doing that, and it was like, it was a bit different, but it's still Mondays were our days off after Sunday games. So Mondays I would come home, do my laundry. My mom would have a few bags of groceries ready for me.
How many tortillas were you taking?
A lot.
That's why JT loves the Mexican food, right? He was grabbing on the tortillas.
So I was lucky enough. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to stay home. It was 30 minutes away. I still got to be perform in front of my family and be playing for, at that time, the best college program there was. I mean, there's no, if you look at, you know, where we were ranked every year that I was there, we were either 1 or we were in the top 5. You know, and it was the program to be in.
That's something people don't understand. It's like, when you, like, I didn't go away to college. I went to junior college, but I'd go visit all my friends. I took classes at USC, UCLA, Santa Barbara. I'd hang out with all my friends, San Diego State, USD. Instead of going to my classes at El Camino, I was hanging out at the universities. But you see the growth in people. And I know your wife has said this, where she recommends people go away to college. And just because you're forced to grow up.
And she was like,
She's
14 when she started living on her own in Vancouver to play for the national team.
Canada, which Cara, you're going to be on the podcast eventually, Cara.
So then, and she came from Vancouver, from the national team, or Toronto, to UCLA, but she already had the experience of being on her own and knowing what to do. So she feels like when she got here, it was like, okay, like this ain't any different, you know, minus she couldn't drink till she was 21 because in Canada it's a little bit different. 19.
You drink your Crown Royal at 19. Bro. Get your Molson's.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a great experience. Like I said, it was like one of those things where the opportunity presented itself and I had to take advantage of it. And
when you talk to high school kids and like they ask you like, hey, where should I go to school? What do you think is the best thing for a kid to look at when they're getting recruited?
Wherever you feel comfortable and wherever you're going to have the best opportunity to succeed. It has to fit you. And
because when you get recruited, everybody's amazing, right?
I wanted to go to USC. And I remember we took a recruiting trip there, and I think I've said this in past podcasts, but the head coach there was we're not
gonna say any names, but
I'm sure
it was
people
2001.
People can figure it out, and he was just such an ass to me. And and the guy that actually was recruiting me was Andy Nieto. At the time, he was the assistant coach / recruiting coordinator, and he was at my house a lot.
He's coaching in high school. I think he coaches at Damien High.
Is he? And yeah, man. I mean, they were, and SC. I took a walking recruiting trip. I didn't stay overnight or anything, but that's where Andy showed me everything, and then we sat down for lunch, and the head coach did not say one word to me, which told me like, all right, maybe this guy does not want me here. Maybe he thinks my numbers are a fluke.
Uh-huh.
And Andy has probably been hyping me up too much that he's probably over it. I don't know. So then I still wanted to go there. And then
despite that, you still wanted to go?
Yeah. So then my dad's like, Cal State Fullerton called. We should take a trip there. I literally was in tears on the way there down the 5, and I was like, Dad, I can't believe you're not, like, I want to go to USC. I already told you I don't want to go anywhere else. He's like, trust me, let's just go see what they have to say. I walked in, meet Coach Horton, meet Dave Serrano, and I was like, boom, right there and then I was like, this is where I want to go.
Damn.
And if I have advice for kids that have choices, go to all of them. Use them to your advantage. Don't get stuck on one and say, oh yeah, this was... No, I mean, because something about Cal State Fullerton, just talking to the coaches, talking to Dave Serrano at the time there, Rick Vanderhook was the hitting coach there, talking to all three of them, and the way they presented themselves, I was like, this is for me. Really? This is me. This is me. This is more me, blue collar. We're going to come here. We're going to get better. Cool. We're going to work. Not that USC wasn't doing the same thing, but
if they're not.
But it just felt different, and it's just something, your intuition takes over, and you're just like, all right, this is for me. And there's a funny story behind Fullerton. I've told it a million times about my dad working in the sewing machine industry, and then we took a trip there on my day off of school, and then driving through Cal State Fullerton, and then seeing the baseball field, going into the baseball field, getting kicked out because I couldn't be in there, and my dad saying, hey, one day you're going to step on that mound and be pitching there. And it came true, and I think that's why he had this vision, and in Cal State Fullerton it was best decision of my life. I don't regret it one bit.
You don't even have a Fullerton anything in your house.
My mom has...
It's all your stuff?
So when before I bought this house, my mom had most of my memorabilia, so my USA jersey and my Cal State Fullerton jersey.
Helmet.
Yeah. My USA jersey and my Cal State Fullerton jersey hang in her office at home. So, and I said I'm not gonna take that away from her.
Then we got to go do a podcast at the
Romero
let's do it. We're gonna
it's cool because she has a lot of stuff. Like she has those jerseys, and then I was at the time sponsored by a company, and they did a cool painting of me, and then this fan drew this like art of me like with pencil.
Oh, okay.
She has it hanging there.
That was a fan who did that? I've seen that at your mom's house.
Yeah, and then
wow.
She's got a few of my cards that she collected over time. Obviously, some crazy fans still send me mail to the house, which I think is not cool.
Send it to me, Beto Vision. I will autograph everything for you.
But yeah, she has a lot of cool stuff, and I said I'm not taking away those jerseys from her,
cool,
because she's proud of her son, and maybe
she loves Gabe.
Maybe one day I'll trade her. I'll trade her for one.
She's not going to trade. Your mom's a hard negotiator. You're going to lose on that trade. You're going to end up giving to Derek Jeter and Halliday for your own Romero jersey.
No, but it was cool. Like I said, it was at the end of the day, Cal State Fullerton was a cool decision, or an awesome decision for me. We were national champs in 2004. You can't beat that. And
change your life.
Changed my life forever, man.
Change your life. So there you go, little Q&A. Quarantine edition.
I got one more.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah,
you got one on your phone?
Somebody actually sent me one.
Besides Kevin Pillar?
Yeah, it's Scott _LMC. He said, best / most memorable experience in the big leagues.
Ooh.
Yeah. There's actually, there's a few. And I won't completely get into them, but obviously making the team in 2009, the debut. Making my debut, starting opening day 2 years in a row for the Toronto Blue Jays was awesome. And number 3, the All-Star game. Being part of the 2011 All-Star game, walking into a clubhouse surrounded by legends, doesn't get any better than that.
And meeting Steve Young.
That's right.
Steve Young. That's pretty cool. Another edition of the Let's Go Ricky Roll podcast. Make sure you guys rate, review, share, let people know that we're doing this on the podcast and also on YouTube. Especially during quarantine season where we can't go anywhere, so put them up. I saw Efren Navarro, who's going to play with Toros de Tijuana. He had it up.
Yeah.
Shout out to him, and he wants to be on the podcast.
Yeah, we need to, man. His story is incredible.
Oh my goodness!
I love it. He's one of a kind, and
once we can get around people, we're gonna start taking
that guy is.
Dude, I had
major inspiration.
I had people ready to be here with lighting. I had a video guy ready to go. I have a crew. Believe it or not, once we got stickers. We got a crew, right? I got a crew, but I can't bring them to your house. It's let alone the fact that I'm even here right now. But I'm good. I didn't cough this morning. I have no lungs in the problem.
Neither did I.
We're good. And I actually went to the doctor, so I'm good for now. So make sure you go 101 Cider, check it out, and then go to Baby Huey in Toronto. They're our boy Nolan. Hurting.
Probably.
But he's probably at the gym working out, so we're all right.
Or getting a haircut.
Getting a haircut.
Thank you guys.
Ricky Rowe 24, Beto Vision. Thank you guys. Another edition of the Let's Go Ricky Rowe podcast.